Hello, everyone. This is Jud. He was just on the bed, but you just missed it. So maybe next episode we'll catch him while he's still on there.
Thrifty, you are an evil SOB. Do you know that?
Yes.
Look,
Hello,
let's do
everyone.
that thing you did with the ping pong balls again.
Ah,
I don't think the wider public are ready for that, Sean.
Just do when they come past.
welcome, everyone, to the Slippy and Thrifty Show. I am Thrifty.
Hi, everyone.
We have my co-host, Mr. Slip Joint Sawyer. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
And two wonderful human beings down below. One invited last minute. We found out his availability, and I appreciate the American flag over the shoulder there. Look at that, Sean, naked Sean, and
Hi, everyone.
somewhere in the background there, I believe, is Miss Naked Sean. Say hello, Lynn, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Hi.
There she is. And of course, Mr. Sidekick, Robin himself, Jud, Wee Jud. We're in matching outfits.
Of course, I got the memo.
I didn't.
I didn't.
So, how are you doing today, Jud? You doing well?
I'm doing really well. I've just been up in airspace bringing down Christmas decorations. It's the 1st of December, and my wife has decided to go absolutely mad. There you go.
Oh, I feel
That's what
sorry for you.
I spent all day yesterday doing. Was pulling down
The 6-foot
things
beaver,
from the
wasn't
attic.
it?
Say again.
The 6-foot beaver from the attic.
Yeah, it's the 6-foot beaver is not inflated yet, but it's outside the container it was in. So it's
Every Texas household needs a 6-foot Christmas beaver.
yeah, 100%.
It's true.
But she's got a couple others this year. I think she's going to have a couple
What,
of
other beavers or?
No, a Snoopy, two Snoopies and a beaver.
I'm afraid, Sean, Matthew, that there's only room for one beaver in the TK household. So
That's correct. So you'll have to sleep in the hotel.
I really want to see the 6-foot beaver when I come over. Please leave it up.
You've seen a picture of it.
Yeah, but I want to see it in real. I want a picture with it.
Oh, with it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We can do that.
No, I want to see that. I mean, more to the point, I would pay to see that.
Would you give it a nice cuddle standing next
Yeah.
to it? Yeah.
I have one of my legs up around it. Yeah.
Embrace the beaver, Matt. Embrace the beaver.
Embrace it.
Oh.
So yeah, we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be doing some knives with stories behind them. So sometimes fun part of collecting knives is not just the knives, but kind of the way you acquired it, or maybe you have some kind of interesting story behind the knife itself that makes it just a little more intriguing for you. And I think we all got knives like that. Of course, on Thursday, Jud says, I'm going to have to make shit up. So hopefully he's not making up his stories.
How will you ever know, TK?
I
How will you
won't.
ever know?
Well, maybe just by your presentation, I'll be able to.
Yeah. BS is my superpower, mate.
That's
Well,
your strong suit.
It certainly wasn't growing, was it?
No, Matthew, it wasn't. But as Dirty Harry said, a good man knows his
Is the beaver
limitations,
taller than Jud?
The beaver it will tower, Jud.
Taller than Jud.
Well, if it's
All right.
6-foot beaver, it'll tower me. It'll tower me.
All right.
Yeah, that's the second photo for the album, is me fighting the beaver. Now, that's it.
This
What
is
was
wrong.
the titles of the movies that we were supposed to introduce today? Top down, something or other. What was it?
Yeah, and the what was it? The small keychain flasher.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be
Judith
highlighted
and the
today.
small keychain flasher.
Those are. I hope that's going into the book. Actually, Matt, that was a legendary one.
I've got such a big book full of quotes from everyone. So many.
That's what she said.
What was it the Patty said? that you marked.
Oh,
Gosh, what
it doesn't
was
matter. Whatever Paddy said is a quote.
Pretty much is.
He
All right.
likes the feeling of hard wood in his hand or something, or warm wood in his
Yeah.
hand, something like that.
Did you do
And
any
we've
knife news, Matt? None at all.
I've been stripping wallpaper, not anything else.
Okay, well, we'll just
We'll brush over that.
brush over that very quickly. We'll play the sound and then call it over. That's it. That's knife news this week. Hope you enjoyed it. We don't have any, but I will say we did have an introduction of a new Rosecraft this week. We had the loom fixer.
Yeah, in the
Or
I
at
forgot
Matt, like
what the bone's called.
look,
Rose matter bone.
you
Rose
called
Rose Matter.
You called it the look fixer.
Loom fixer.
Yeah, you misspelled it when you were trying to put loom fixer, and I reminded you that's
Oh yeah.
that's an impossibility. There's no fixing that.
Yeah, there's no fixing that. You can't fix my look. Thank you, John.
But Andy's checking in a new knife this week, so you can expect another release before Christmas. And I think that will be the last one for a bit, right?
Perhaps.
Or is he trying to space them out just evenly?
Yeah, like one a month, couple of months, something like that. Nothing too crazy. Not all at once because that's irritating, but not months between because that's also irritating.
Right.
Like I don't know, maybe say like they announced a new S-Belly on SMKW in November last year, and it's now November this year, and it's still not out. For example.
To say that I'm slightly irritated about that would be an understatement.
You're very irritated about. It's like dangling the last one in front of you.
Yeah, I've got actually some of those to show today, so we'll talk a little bit about that.
Here's that knife you need. Here it is.
All right.
I'm not going to release it though. I'm going to put it back in the box.
Right. Well, I've just come to learn that just because they've announced it doesn't mean that it's anywhere around the corner.
Anything,
no, it doesn't mean much. That may not even get made. Heck, I don't know.
But it'll be on the website, but it doesn't matter. But it's on the website. It also says S-Belly moves for a copperhead. So
yeah, I mean, I've heard of slow boats from China, but that one could be going the wrong way and still not have gotten here in time.
You mean like Paddy's?
And just, yeah, Rosecraft ended up in China. Poor guy. All right, so Judster, you got a knife and a knife story to give us?
And you're going first because I want to make sure it's not made up.
Yes. Spotlight on you.
No, but I lulled people into a false sense of security by doing a true story first that they've probably already heard. So the danger is that the danger with this tactic is that they will slip into a coma and miss the rest of the show. But I mean that's a win for me because then any BS that I come out with afterwards, nobody's there to actually check the credentials thereof. So I suppose the first one I'm going to go with, Sean will recognize this one. I think if you're going to talk about stories, you have to start with as far back in the past as you possibly can. So I'm starting with my granddad's Stockman.
Nice.
And that is a Carl Camerling Stockman. God knows what the handles are. It could be celluloid, it could be buffalo horn. I honest to God don't know. But it is just, my dad gave me this. My granddad died about 30 years ago maybe. But he always carried pocket knife, my dad was telling me. So this was the last knife he had in his pocket probably, because he used them, as you can tell from the knife itself. He used the dang thing and he used them to death. And he wasn't interested in buying an expensive knife. This was probably the cheapest pocket knife he could put his hand to. And then he carried it, used it, and wore it down to the nubbins as much as he possibly could. And my granddad was a fitter in Shorts shipyard, and while he wasn't quite old enough to work on the Titanic, he was working in the same shipyard where the Titanic was built in Belfast, and he was a typical, at the time, a typical young man from the Shankill Road who worked in Belfast and grew up in Belfast in the 1920s and 30s in abject poverty. And that is probably as much of a representation of his life as anything else. He was a working man, and apparently from all accounts, I remember sitting with him and he used to tell us with great glee tales of his youth. Apparently my granddad, who in his later years and as a parent and a grandparent, was a good Christian man, as they always say. In his younger years, was a complete bloody nutcase. He was no bigger than me, and he would pick a fight in an empty room, apparently. So he was a hard man from the Shankill Road, and he never grew out of it until he found religion. So it was I'm sure that knife or variations of it saw much use in the years that he held them. He worked for Schwartz for a long time, and then during the Second World War he worked on Spitfires. I don't know how you transition from big boats to aircraft, but because he was a fitter and a sort of had engineering skills, it was one of those things. He was moved out to an island in Scotland where they were manufacturing Spitfires at some point, and he worked on the engines of Spitfires. So it was all fascinating stuff. And one of the best things about my granddad was his name. My granddad's first name was Hawkins. Now my dad's first name is Carlisle. My first name is Justin. So you can imagine we come from a long line of strange names. And that pretty much is my first story. I love this knife and I love having it. And if you're going to start a program or a podcast on knives with a story, I think that's as good a story as you're going to get to kick us off. That do, Thrifty?
Yeah, we might as well end.
Yes, sir. Just a question about not that knife in particular, but just the pattern. You don't carry a lot of Stockmans, do you?
No, I don't particularly. Apart from sacks, I don't. And that's the irony of it. I don't particularly like multi-bladed knives. So it's. And again, the irony. I just bought my first case large Stockman the other day. I just got my first case large Stockman the other day, and it is a lovely, lovely knife. Whether or not I'll carry it, I don't know. But it's definitely got a place in my collection. So I've got this as a Stockman, I've got a case large Stockman, and I've got a medium Stockman that I got from down in Bladebridge. So I've got a few Stockman to go, but it's not a knife that I would normally carry. John, you're quite right.
I go through like phases with Stockmans. Like I'll have like maybe a week or two. I'm like, yeah, I just want to carry a Stockman all the time, and then I'll go through like a month and a half. It's just like, no, single blades only, thanks. I don't know what it is. Just sometimes I really enjoy it. Other times I'm just rather have a single blade.
All right, who wants to go next?
Go on, Sean. Guess first.
Sean raised his hand.
Yeah. So, well, I can't really follow Jud's nice story with such gravitas, but the one I'm going to start with is, and this isn't the knife, but it is one like my very first knife, a little Richards. So I think it's Sportsman. I think they were called.
Sports knife,
so
yeah.
Spear blade, the fish scaler and disgorgia, and then the can opener, and screwdriver cap lifter, and these were just pocket money knives. The one I bought was from a local shop back in the days when you'd walk in there and there'd be a cardboard display or three with different patterns.
They were just like elastic on, weren't they? It was like like elastic, how you would get scampi fries in a pub, like elastic on, and you just sort of pull one off. Yeah. I know.
And I can remember, as a youngster looking at these boards and sort of staring at them and thinking, oh, God, I want one of those. And eventually got one, like I say, like this. And that was where it all began, really, for me then. Used it to death, sadly lost it. I mean, God knows what happened to it, but back in the days then, in the sort of early 70s, we were out playing in the fields and making dens and just doing proper kid stuff. And
we call those forts. You call them dens over there?
We do, yeah.
Little bear dens.
We were forts. We were forts, TK.
All right. Love to make the fort. That was a fun thing.
I mean, they were good little starter knives. I mean, I had, again, this isn't the one, but they did a version of a kind of 3-rivet style knife, which again, these are all shell covers.
Yeah,
very basic, very crudely made.
Is that a Richards as well?
That's a Richards, yeah.
I have the exact same one that I've got to restore in my restoration pile. Strange.
And also a kind of fish knife variant with the descaler, disgorger, and cap lifter as well. And actually, one of these was responsible for my first nasty cut with a pocket knife. Actually, I don't think it was one of mine. I think it was one of a friend's, and we were, I don't know, making both ours or something, and I managed to skid the blade off the piece of wood, and it cut the palm of my hand. And I can remember looking at it and thinking, "What's that steep?" I mean, it wasn't probably that big, really, but at the time, it was the first time. It was the first time I'd kind of been slightly concerned about what I'd just done, but my concern soon went and didn't put me off carrying them. So
no, yeah. Well, the Rogers seemed to be like a lot of the knives that a lot of the English kids would buy first time.
They were the budget brand. They were the most readily available. They were just everywhere.
And they did lots of different patterns as well. As this, I believe, is it's scout knife. It says on the blade. So you've got the
one here as well.
That kind of pattern. I don't know whether you're going to see the etch. This one needs tidying up. It does say scout knife on there that you probably not going to really read it, but
I can see that OUT. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also did lots of souvenir knives. Oh, that's nice. You can see yours better on there.
Yeah, scout knife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you'd go to a seaside resort or some such place, and you'd pick up these knives that had the. I mean, this is for the guys in Wales there. Noswithar, Elan, Tony, whoever else is in the chat. I'm not keeping up with the chat. Sorry, guys.
But, they're in the chat. Don't worry, Sean. Yeah, they're there.
Yes, I mean they were just everywhere. You know, corner shops, village shops. Again, all on those cardboard displays. So yeah.
Yeah, the little backing boards actually have a little Rough Rider one that they offered from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I probably ought to run and get that before the show's over, just to kind of give you guys an eyeball of what it is that we're talking about. I'm sure most of you guys know, but they're just little stiff boarded easels, basically with elastic on them that cheap little knives would display in. And I would have to say we were very much the same when I was a kid, because I remember seeing like colonial knives, just really affordable shell style knives like that at hardware stores and beyond. Funny enough, my one of my first knives that I bought, probably the second knife I ever owned, was from a little shop near the beach as well. Well, just a little souvenir place. So it's kind of funny that you always mention like seaside resorts and such. But
it was always the same. It was, you'd either have them with like the local area design on them, or there'd be the classic naked ladies ones that were seemed to be everywhere as well, like the pin-up girls or whatever they were called at the time.
I think this particular one that I bought when it was on a spinner, and had like maybe like 3 sides to it, and they're all just like smaller knives, like 2.5 to 3 inch knives in closed length, real small. And it was one that was basically like a miniature 110, the little clip point blade lock back, but probably nothing more than that size. But yeah, so probably like $5 is all I spent on it.
Yeah, they were real affordable, which just, they could just knock them out. And if you're buying like a $5 or £5 knife, you're not going to be complaining about the fit and finish. You're buying it just to abuse it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know you've got something special to show us, Matt, because you've kind of created something over there in the corner, right? You want to?
I have semi-created it. I can start. The picture's still over there, but I've got the stuff. So, as a memorial to my grandfather, John sent me over this, and I put it on a very nice Victorinox stand. It's I've forgotten the model name. It's not it might be a hiker. I can't remember. But it's got the Spitfire design, so it goes back to the war, things like that. So it's on like a little stand, and next to it, I've now dropped it. I've got.
Is it 91 millimeters, Sean, or Matt?
Yeah, it's a 91. I think it's a
Chamfer.
a hiker.
Oh no, it's not. It's got the Phillips. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, and I've also managed to find a RAF issue Zippo, brand new in box, from the era he was actually in the RAF, which is pretty cool. And it's never been used. But yeah, I've been slowly creating like a little memorial, because he was a big part of my life. He was a great man. I even did. I'm not going to get my full boob out, but I even got like a remembrance tattoo for him and stuff. But yeah, that's a very special knife for me. So I really appreciate John sending it over, because it really does sort of, every time I look at it, it takes me back to memories of that. I just think it makes perfect sense. And I tell you, the amount of times I've cut myself on this trying to put this saw blade out, because if you touch it in this angle, it slams in. So I'm very scared of my thumb. But yeah, it's a very special piece. So although it's a brand new Victorinox, it's not from the same era. Just I appreciate you sending that over, John. It really does. It means a lot.
Well, you're very welcome.
That's probably.
I was wanting to I was kind of curious about the stand, actually.
Would you like to see how it comes
apart? Just how it mounts on there. Yeah.
Okay, so you take the toothpick out the back,
and
then it's like this. Look.
Okay, so is it just a bit of
it
lifts up?
It's metal. It's metal with like a. It literally just pushes in the toothpick slot like that, and that's it.
No, that's
very cool.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up a few more of them, because they're really cool. Because I've got a load of customs Dan's made me, and I've actually got the. While I've got Swiss Army knives out, my first knife was a Silvertech Climber that my father gave for me. This has been abused. Like the blades, they're not fully whittled down, but you can see they're not. This one's got a bit of a bow in it. This pen blade's been down a bit. But yeah, I want to put this one on a little stand as well, because I refuse to carry this one now, because if you lose it, you can't really replace something like that. Even though they still make these, it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. Baxter says that's how the toothpicks go missing. It's because you have to use them for the stands.
Yeah. Luckily, when I started making my own, I actually bought. I think I've got about 60 of each toothpick and tweezers that I got from Victorinox, because I was just sick of not having enough after making my own.
I've done the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
that's my sort of.
Never going to be a problem again. I've got a pretty much a lifetime supply, right?
So many. But that's my first one is a sort of homage to my grandfather is the Spitfire hiker and the sort of the Zippo. I have actually got as well. I will show you. I'll take my headset off though. Hang on.
Okay.
Did you all enjoy looking at my legs?
Very
No.
nice.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Don't all lie. So here is my grandfather in
Oh,
uniform.
there he is.
Wow, that's cool.
No messing about.
And this is his door plaque from when he was in the RAF.
Wing Commander.
Wow,
Now,
an OT
that's
as
explain the bottom bit, if you would, all the little abbreviations
Oh,
for us over here.
Yep.
You don't know
Yep.
all of that?
So this is just all his like qualifications and stuff he did. I don't know what they all mean. It's all written down somewhere, but I haven't got it to hand.
What about the OBE? Do you know what that is?
OBE is a medal.
Or Order of the British Empire.
Ah, there we go. There's our resident intelligentsia.
So yeah,
Matt,
we actually have.
you know what's really freaky if you think about it is my grandfather probably worked on Spitfires that your grandfather flew or was in charge of as wing commander.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
wing commander, and he actually worked on bombs for the Lancaster.
That's incredible.
While we're here, because it's all just to hand, this was the bayonet he had in the picture.
Now, that's a knife.
wow.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that all ties together, doesn't it?
Very cool.
Maybe you need
And
to
this
get a
is
wall
from-
mount for that over there. Put it over
I
there.
will be getting. This is from 1871.
Mhm.
Says on the top of the tang. Sean, you'll be familiar with this because you had one. We went to the camp out. Yours was in a bit better nick than mine. I won't go into why you still have it because we don't want to talk about that. But this
Oh, yes. Yeah.
was also from. This is a World War One, isn't it? 1917 US
Yep.
bayonet. These all need a lot of cleaning up now. They're not rusting bad. They just need sort of a little bit of TLC. But yeah, everything I pretty much inherited from him is really special. I couldn't sort of tell you which bit means the most. It all just sort of means a lot. But yeah, that's what I've got for my first sort of one. Well, when I say first, I mean big old pile of knives. What have you got, John?
Well, nothing that's gonna even touch that. I've told the story like 4 times already on the channel, but I don't mind telling it again because it's kind of a fun one. But this is a knife that came from Randy, and this was actually the very same model that was my first knife, and it's actually from my. Let me get the hell. Got solder coming down from the wall. But this is the first the knife that I was given by Randy, but it's the same one as my dad gave me when I was probably about, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years old. And he actually found it in the new house that we had purchased. He was doing some redecorating of some of the upstairs portion of the attic around the door frame, and this was lodged in behind the trim that went around the attic door entrance. And it's kind of a weird house. Some kind of spooky things about it. I talked about it a little bit during a video where I talked more about the spooky knife. We call it the spooky knife because there was a hand painted above the doorway. It had a flame coming out of it. It was hand painted, like somebody was, I don't know, just a little bit off that lived there before us. And so it was kind of a place when you're 8 or 9 years old, you have nightmares about going up into the attic, It was real steep stairs. Like the gradient to go up the stairs was kind of dangerous for
like the creepy basement sort of vibes to it.
Yeah, but then in reverse, right? And
Yeah.
It was just a really steep incline, and the railing, I remember the railing was not well attached to the the wall where you would hold on to it so it would wobble, and then you've got the steep steps at the top of it. So for the longest time I just didn't even like going up there. But if my dad was up there, I'd want to go up there and see what he was doing and pester him. And one of those times happened to be when he found this, so that was kind of cool. But then later, when my sister, she's 2 years older than I am, she was in the Girl Scouts, so then I had to let her have the knife, since it was a much better fit for her whenever.
I've just noticed the bail on that thing. That's a hell of a bail on that Girl Scout.
Yeah, it is quite significant, isn't it? But it's an interesting color. I think it's
I really like the color. I mean,
it's sort of a metallic green almost. I wouldn't mind having a car in that color. Something like that. Be kind of attractive. But yeah, just a 4-bladed camp knife, and one that they would issue to the Girl Scouts when this was an official licensed one. This is a Cutmaster brand. Now they had different brands, obviously.
It's in really good shape.
Different makers, but
nice.
Yeah, this one's in really good shape. The one I had was not nearly as nice as this one. Very much rusted. Not ever sure what happened to it, but I know I had it for probably 10 to 12 years at least. I kept hold of it. But as kids do, they lose things. So it's probably out in the woods like Sean was doing when I was making forts or something, cutting notches in wood so they would stack. But probably got lost in the leaves. And being green, you probably would never find it.
Never.
But
it's why I don't understand. They make some of the hunting knives with like camouflage on them. It's just like what you're just asking to lose.
Right. Well, that's why I guess they've decided finally that cost me a fortune.
Such a jackass.
Yeah. My first.
You can't call Randy a jackass because he's forever giving people presents.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the astronaut. Let's have a look at this.
And that was it's the Master Craftsman. That's the space shuttle one. And I don't know where he came across it, and I honestly don't understand why he sent it to me, because this is a keeper, really. But I will be eternally grateful, and that's got a place in my collection, no matter what else goes. But yeah, Randy, one of the most generous men in YouTube, without a doubt.
Yeah, the astronaut. That's a pretty rare one. That's definitely one for Victorinox collectors that's sought after pretty handily. So the fact that he found that's
he got. I'm pretty sure he got it in like a bundle of knives for like $20, as he normally does. I'm pretty sure. I remember him telling me about it. I'm pretty sure it was a very, very small amount that he paid for it, but it's making me excited to want to go to the States and go in these sort of pawn shops, flea markets. I'm going to buy so much stuff. I'm going to be bankrupt.
You did say pawn
you need to really put that W in there, bud, because that does not sound like what I know you meant to say.
Yeah. We all know what I meant. We all know what I meant. Well, Sean was probably hoping for the other one, but
you've got Mikey with you, haven't you? So
yeah, I just expect to be in jail by the end of the 3 days. They're here at least. Pretty much just saving up bail money, not knife money at this point.
Yeah. I'm just saving up to go just to bail us all out of jail. There's not going to be any purchasing going on. We're just purchasing my life back.
It'd be kind of version of the Hangover films.
Yeah.
You'd be waking up in the room with a tiger there, wasn't it? Baxter?
Yeah.
He'll be there. He's going to be at the shop at the Blade Show.
Yeah, Baxter's going to be there. We're going to have to call on him to get us out.
Who's going to be Tyson, though?
Who's going to be Tyson?
I'm sure you'll find somebody. Yeah, you'll find someone.
Are we going to wake up with an Asian man with a monkey as well?
I think anything's up for grabs. Really. Anything's possible.
All
But
right.
there's a
Stay away from
definite,
the
Sean's right though. There's definitely a movie in it.
Yeah, I would sell the rights to that. Someone will make it. The amount of stuff they make now and just put on Netflix, they might as well. If someone will buy it.
That's true.
All right. You want me to go again, guys, or you got one ready to go? Someone else?
I can go.
You can
Go
go
on.
again? All right.
And indeed, I mean the astronaut was just a quick nod to Randy. So you were talking about first knives, TK. So I suppose my first knife, well, it had to be a sack, really, didn't it? So Slippy, you've got 30 seconds to identify this sack.
Can you move it a bit closer to the camera? Can you turn it round? All the way around.
Ranger.
No, it's got pliers.
Which makes it
Champ.
not big enough for a champ.
Is it like a craftsman or something? Handyman?
Corkscrew, handyman. You got there eventually. Yeah. Huh? The student becomes the master, Slippy. The student becomes a master. Well done.
Now, here's the problem with these names. What happens with me? I learn them for about a week, and then they just disappear out of my head.
Some
It's
of
called
them
Jud.
don't. It is the most bizarre one. I can never remember the ones with the Phillips back till. Never can, because they're just variations on the corkscrew. But anyway, this one was it was actually my second sack. But Slippy, you were or TK, you were saying about when you're younger you lose stuff. I had a Swiss Army knife, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. I have a sneaking suspicion it was a Ranger, but I lost it on a camping trip in Spain when I was living there, and I always regretted it. And then I was still over there. I worked in Spain for about 3 years, and when I was leaving, my friends gifted me the handyman, and I don't even think it was when I was leaving. It was actually a birthday present. So this, as Slippy could no doubt tell you, could probably date when I was in Spain, which was at the end of the 80s, start of the 90s, which sort of explains why the parcel hook's in there, but there's very few other tools on the back. But this was my second sack, but the one that has stayed with me since that time, and it was the basis for all my collecting going forward when I started collecting them again. And it always came on me on camping trips and everything, and I carried it a lot in when I was traveling and everything like that, but I haven't carried it in a long time, so it just sits there as a reminder of times gone past, and I suppose it's the start of the journey as much as anything else. But it's always a nice one to look back on and reflect. I think it's nice to remember. It's a good thing to remember what your first knife was, TK, right? And it's like your first girlfriend, your first kiss, whatever, your first knife. I think that's something peculiar to us collectors, probably. I'm not sure that anybody else that we're talking to would probably appreciate that so much, but it is one of those things it's nice to have this and bear it in mind that you started somewhere, kind of thing. But that's the story attached to that one anyway. Short and sweet. Like
Very
myself.
Cool. All right, well, let's stick on that theme. Here's one that doesn't exist outside of my hand because it's custom, and it's made by the little fella down below here. This was called the Detective. This is one of Jud's early attempts at a custom, I think. Isn't that correct?
It is indeed.
Yeah. So you've got what's this platform based on? It's on a
Explorer, probably.
Explorer, and then you've added some layers. Yeah, it's got the pliers.
Yeah, that's Explorer with pliers.
Explorer with pliers. And you've called it the Detective because he knew that I would use that magnifying glass to look at tang stamps. So,
yeah, but wasn't it ironic, though, John, that we've only just discovered that you were a detectorist? So this becomes even more relevant.
Right.
I forgot about the detectorist.
Do we
I
have to
haven't watched the
retell that
video.
story for the people who
I'm
weren't in attendance?
Gonna have to go and find the detectorist. What was it? Coin Runner John? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before I started YouTube with the Thrifty Kniffy channel, I was known as Coin Runner John, and I did metal detecting. Metal detecting.
Metal detection.
Before I had my detective, I was detecting with my metal detector.
So you go after metal and Paddy goes after wood. So you both opposite ends of the stick.
Yeah, and I made like 3 videos. So if you guys are really that interested and want to see that horrible production,
I still can't believe that it was you. It doesn't look anything like you.
I'm fat.
You look so much better now than you do then.
I was fat.
You kind of remind me a bit like Mikey in it. I don't know why.
Because I was big cheeked.
You were with hamster cheeks.
Yeah, that's a massive.
You were like me at this time last year.
Yeah, I lost a ton of weight. So, but that was the heaviest. I mean, it's like literally the heaviest I'd ever been. So that was like the peak of my weight. It wasn't so bad, TK. It was bad. I don't know who this guy is, so you guys have to explain this. TK looked like Mount in between.
Randy, did you listen to Limp Bizkit all the time?
Judd has shared the channel there. Look. There we go. Baxter says, I'm just going to meet all these jackasses at the show. That'll be a bonus. Yep, 100%.
I'm very different in person.
Did I see Limp Bizkit at the time?
Yeah. No, did you
Or did I
listen to a
listen
lot
to
of
Limp Bizkit? Why do I look like some?
You look like the guy from Limp Bizkit.
Do I look like one of the band members? What's Mr. In Between? I don't know what the hell he means.
Judith,
That's
you're
right,
muted.
TK. Can I assume you never found a knife with your metal I did, actually. You were incorrect. You haven't mentioned it. It was so rusted I threw it away. It was
unsavable.
Yeah, it was garbage. Found silver rings.
Did you actually find any coins?
I found, literally hundreds of dollars worth of coins.
Perhaps
paid for half I had a cheap detector. I used it so much that I paid for the next 50% of the next detector, which I paid like $700 for.
By just finding stuff with a detector. So maybe that's how that's like a money glitch then, isn't it? If you buy a cheap
hobby that
detector,
pays for itself. Pretty darn rare. You definitely don't have that with these. I can promise.
Judge, you've muted yourself.
Have you muted yourself?
Judge, you've muted. There we go.
There we go.
But it's not like collecting knives. It doesn't really pay for itself, does it? Unless you get bored and sell them all. It doesn't.
And even then, you never get the money back, do you? Slippy, you never get the money back.
I think he's made a profit with this whole thing. Yeah.
No, I'm just redistributing what's no longer required.
You've never marketed yourself at all. You've never done anything to try to encourage people to come to your channel. You've never done anything like that.
What's wrong with that? It's a little coin.
It's a wooden nickel. You know what my dad always told me about people that gave you wooden nickels?
Make sure you trust them. They're very trustworthy.
No.
The complete opposite.
Quite the opposite, sir. All right, Sean, your turn, buddy. Take it.
So after having numerous different Richards knives, the only one that I still have was this little Chinese-made 110 kind of knockoff shape thing, very thin. And this was a present from my nan. and it's managed to survive all these years and stay with me. I mean, it's, as a knife, it's pretty appalling, really. Hot metal steel. It's actually sharp at the moment, but if I did anything with it, it wouldn't be for very long. So that sort of has managed to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was sometime in my, I guess, late teens, I found Taylor's Eyewitness. And this was just one of their cheap plastic handled single blade clip points. And it was one I actually used, abused at work, doing all kinds of rough and ready jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And please, I've still got it. I don't quite know how it managed to survive not being lost, but it did. And seeing everybody's mentioned the Victorinox, this was one of my 2 first Victorinox knives. This is actually the original. It's a Huntsman. And this thing got used and abused. It's still in relatively good shape, to be honest. I think by then I was starting to take care of things a bit more.
Yeah, the blade looks pretty straight for as many times as you sharpened it. Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit scratched up, but, you know. And that would have been sometime in the late 80s when I got that one. And at the same time, I picked up a Recruit. Now, I don't still have the Recruit, but recently bought another one just to kind of replace it, because the Recruit that I did have, I carried ever such a lot. I mean, it was perfect size to fit in the 5th pocket of your jeans. Whereas the Huntsman was a bit more of a pocket full, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that got carried. The Recruit got carried all over, did all sorts with it. But at the same time, within a few weeks, I got this Champ.
That's the Champ. Yep, there we go.
So it's the older one. No parcel hook on this.
Right.
But I mean, the only thing I've really done with this is taking it when I've been on trips and stuff. You know, just so I've got a good set of tools with me. Not really done a lot of work, to be honest. And I bought the pouch with it at the time, but I never really carried it on my belt. I have done, but you can see it's still virtually.
Yeah, I get where they were going. They were going with that to make it like a belt carry, but it's so bulky on your belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really never got carried in a bag or an overnight bag or whatever when I was going anywhere for any period of time. I just wanted to have a few tools as well as the blade, you know.
Exactly what I use my Champ for is exactly that. It goes in my camp bag and it pretty much stays there.
Just something for preparedness of whatever you might need when it
and
the event arises.
Around the same time, I picked this up. It's Japanese made, no branding on it, 440 steel. And although it doesn't look like it's had a lot of use, it was used quite a lot, but more just not really for kind of everyday carry. It was more if I was going outdoors in the fields. Opening bunnies, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it looks well built, you know.
Yeah,
for the time in there.
It's a hefty piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes
some of those Japanese knives they made like in the 80s, 90s. They really knew what they were doing. Like Mikey gifted me a couple. I know John, you've got a couple.
Mm-hmm.
A little Stockman by Comanche Cub, and just a no name jackknife. It's immaculate.
And then this was one I remember as a kid, and it belonged to an uncle. It's a Wilkinson sword.
Oh, the
So you got
Wilkinson,
Warney and a little sort of coping blade.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually engraved his name and address on it back in the day. But I remember seeing it as a kid, and he obviously saw me showing some interest in it. And then when he died, I ended up getting it. But I saw Mikey with one of these in a picture he posted the other
Yeah,
day.
you got it at the antique fair he
Yeah.
went to the other week. He found it in a box.
Had somebody's name on that one as well. There was something engraved on it, wasn't there?
Yeah, someone's name engraved on it.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
What else you have?
Most of my special ones, to be honest, sort of remind me of my grandfather. This next one was one I purchased with the last sort of birthday money he gave me when he was still sort of able to, if that's a better way of putting it. It's one I actually bought from Paddy. It's a GEC. It was actually my first GEC. And this is the 38, but it's 38 special, so it's a single blade. It's been used to death. It's been sharpened multiple times, but it's in the abalone covers with the cloud shield on it.
That's what we're going with.
It's flawless. It's built really well. Bit of patina going on there, but not the greatest of pulls. It's probably like a 6 max, but it is a perfect proper gents knife. I would say that sort of pattern. It's almost like a whittler frame, isn't it? Really, that sort of seahorse whittler sort of frame, but just with a single blade. But this is one I picked up with some sort of birthday money he gave with me, or use the birthday money towards it. And there's no way or amount of money that can get me to part with this. It just means too much now. And Randy's right; it looks like a poop shield. It's exactly what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But the abalone on it is fantastic. I think it's a great knife. It's one that that I actually carried. I carried to his funeral. Any sort of special event, I carry this. Obviously, I clean it up and stuff, but I've used it a bit since then and just not cleaned it up afterwards. But yeah, it's my proper event or sort of function knife that I take everywhere when I go, especially anywhere that means sort of meaning, like a wedding, anything like that. I'll take this with me. But yeah, that's my GEC 38, and it was 381117, so it's a 2017. Yeah, big fan of this one. It's got the tube and everything for it still, but it's all packed away in storage still. But yeah, big fan. That's my sort of my.
It's a pretty early GEC, right? They probably only started 16, 17, something like that.
Wasn't it like wasn't it like 06 they started, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Maybe. Maybe I'm off on that. I just remember it from a Jersey knife guy video. He mentioned the beginning of it. He had some from the very first years, but
they've not been going long, but the quality they knock out and how long they've been going, I think they're doing a great job.
Well,
right.
TK, can I hijack the next moment?
Sure.
As it sort of segues nicely into it before we go to yours, because I mean the story about it, and I have, is that when I started collecting, and because I was manipulated shamelessly by the man we all know and love as Paddy, GECs were almost the be all and end all of everything, and so I had to have a GEC and needed one, and then needed more. Honest to God, I think I'm probably one of the few people who has never had, well, not never, but very rarely had a good experience with GECs. I don't rate them. I don't even go looking for them particularly. And while I can appreciate the craftsmanship and the look of the knives, they irritate the hell out of me, because every time I buy one or trade for one or get one, apart from the two that I've got here to show, they just fall short. And I think that is something that is really, really annoying when you're spending considerable amount of money on a knife for a maker that's got a huge, in many ways, for me anyway, and this is me being honest, is overblown reputation. And I mean, at the same time, it's really annoying because they can do really absolutely gorgeous knives, like the one that Matt's just shown. And like my favorite knife, my favorite Sodbuster of all time is the 71 bullnose. And I mean, that's just a cracking knife. And I will never, ever give this one up because I think it's the best Sodbuster. You can take your case soddies and you can stick them up your phone jersey, because this, in my opinion, is the best Sodbuster that has ever been, except for the Britbuster, but that's a whole different class. And this for me is the high point of GEC, and yet it's probably the cheapest knife that they've ever made and produced. And it's just a fantastic knife. And the only other knife that I haven't moved on that's GEC is one that I got from Stephen, and I think it's a 58. Let me just check. 56. It's a 56, and that is just a gorgeous example. Like Slippy's, beautiful fit and finish, beautiful, elegant shape to it, and absolutely gorgeous. It's a perfect statement of a spear point. A little bit fat on the blade and the belly, and that the bone on this and the easy open is just to die for. And the bone is actually one that look at that, Slippy, Randy, it's the same shield. Check it out.
Does that mean we're Pooh brothers?
Is that a bow?
We are officially Poop brothers, and no half stop. It's just all the way open. But the pull on this, the walk and talk on this is extraordinary. It's just fantastic. It's got a long nail nick, and it is just a fantastic piece of design because it is just so thin in hand. Look at that. There's nothing to it. But honestly, these two GECs, I am constantly tempted by GEC because they look so gorgeous, and because of the sort of mystique about them, you always feel tempted by them. Slippy Kongi had, what was it, 2 14s up and an 81 or something, or 85, and all of a sudden, I mean, all of my inhibitions were gone as I thought, I've got to have it. And then I suddenly caught myself on and went, why the heck am I doing this again to myself? Because it is one of those things that you constantly want, to have a good experience with GEC, but they've usually disappointed me, I have to say. Now, that's my experience. To quote Stephen, that's my experience. I know that doesn't stand. That's not a commentary on the quality or the experience that other people have with GEC. That is 100% my experience, and it has got nothing to do with anybody else. It's just the way it's happened for me, and that's my GEC story. And
so
Stephen will probably stop
my take on the
GEC
GEC thing. It's I don't know if I've really shared my opinions on that much, but the thing that bothers me most about the GEC is no fault of their own. It's their customers, because I've been in other hobbies where the secondary market sort of destroyed my love for whatever it was that was associated with it. And it's just like these people that are buying, there's enough of a percentage, to me at least, that are buying them just purely for profit to try to move on and flip, and they have no appreciation for the knife itself. I'm not saying that everybody that does that is has that sort of feeling, but I think there's enough of them that are just completely emotionless when it comes to the knife, and they're literally doing it for monetary reasons only. And
yeah,
there's enough of that. There's enough of that,
and then like flogging them like another $100 on top, like on eBay and stuff. I don't understand why.
And enough of that's going on with the other hobbies that I've been associated with in the past that I've wanted to move away from, that it sort of reminds me of what I've already kind of left behind. And it's just that's just a turn off for me that has nothing to do with the knife at all, really, because they don't have any control over that. they make them in limited numbers, so that sort of thing's probably likely to happen, you know. But it's unfortunate. That's just the way that works. At least here, I think maybe even less of a concern for you guys over there because they're maybe not as well known.
Well, they're getting pretty pricey now.
Yeah, and it's funny because it seems to be going the same way on the secondary market, because while the few retailers that there are for GEC do it honestly and at the prices that they're released, as soon as they get sold and snapped up, they come back on the secondary market at some ridiculous prices. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bullbuster or the Bullnose, sorry, that the Judge showed, they're ridiculous on the secondary market, and they were like, as he said, like they were like the cheapest one.
Yeah.
Like I want one, but I'm not prepared to pay the price for it. But it's not worth that.
If you spend over £100 on a Bullnose, it's too much. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that knife a lot, and I know Mikey's got one too, right? So
yeah, Mikey's got the large one as well, isn't it?
The 21.
Yeah.
It's he bought that off me. It's a cracker, but I mean, come on, can you imagine a bigger Sodbuster in my hands? Are you kidding me? It's like a broadsword.
It's a big one.
Yeah. As the actress said in Bishop, yes, quite right. Quite right.
Quite right.
Well, I just recently picked this up since we're on the topic of Sodbusters. I got it. What? Saturday? I believe I got this Saturday. So I've been wanting a carbon full size for a long time, and so I finally got a channel style red.
Excellent.
Nice.
With the carbon blade. So
is that the American Workman series?
Yeah, American Workman series. Full size.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, that'll be a user. That one's not going to be tucked away. Get slammed and bammed, and maybe then I don't have to use the Brit Buster quite as often, but I will still bring it out as well.
Brit Buster's designed to be used.
Yeah, I know.
Please abuse it.
It's the only one in the United States, as far as I know. What? Say again.
Hold that one up again, because there's more of a drop on the point of that, and it's not as much. The belly's not as close to the tip, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a lovely shape for that blade.
Yeah, the Junior is a bit more snub nose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Okay. Well, let me go into a story then. This one, everybody that likes Patty will appreciate. So, 2 years ago when you guys had your Sharp show, Patty had picked up several case knives, and I actually ended up requiring one of them. And this was one that he picked up from Robert Cutting. You'll remember Robert Cutting at the show.
Oh, yeah.
And the beautiful inlay there with the Case XX logo, sow-belly design, 3-blade sow-belly. Help me with the material there, maybe somebody. I can't remember.
Cranberry jig bone.
Cranberry jig. There we go. But yeah, I really fell in love with the knife as soon as I saw that they made one of these with that style shield on there.
I love the shield on that. It's so good. It's done so well.
So when Patty got hold one, I was like, well, maybe he'll end up selling. Maybe he'll end up selling or trading one of them, because he got both the 3-bladed and the 5-blade. Well, I wasn't interested in the 5-blade. I wanted the 3-blade. So we worked out a price when he went to sell it. And so this came over from the UK, well, Ireland, I guess, via England, Coventry, from Robert. Did you say that Robert was an American?
He is, yeah. Was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, do you know what his story was? Why he was there? Do you know?
I think his wife was English.
Was he? Oh, okay. That makes sense. Maybe somebody at the show would know.
We were all being far too rude and rummaging through his drawers rather than talking to him about his life. we were all being way too rude and just being like, "Get out of the way! I want to look through all your knives."
Yeah, and a
You
little
can't
bit of
deny it. We all were, Judd included, while he's chewing and can't
Yeah.
answer for himself. We were all rummaging through his drawers and not talking to him.
Were you there the first that year, Sean? Was that?
Yes, I was there.
Sean was there, yeah.
And we found those drawers, those little filing drawer units behind his stall, and then those tool rolls. And
No, the tool rolls.
The gift we just kept giving, wasn't it?
They didn't stop. It was just like, oh,
No.
here's like 10 drawers of case knives in the box. And then he was like, oh, I've got some without the box. And he pulled out these tool rolls, like hold like 12 knives each, and there must have been like 10 of them.
Hold that thought there, Shawnee. What we got?
This was one I took from Robert cutting.
Is that a single blade?
It is.
Single blade.
Wow.
Tony Bose. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you talk about hindsight being a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all felt that, oh, that's nice, Judd.
That's a Robert cutting special as well.
You got from, yeah.
You've muted.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
The other one, the knife. You didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, but the other one, other one I got off Robert Cuttings was is now with Gadget Gus, of course.
Right, the canoe, right?
Yeah, the legendary canoe, exactly.
The legendary canoe, yeah.
Yeah, we all took it for granted, and we're kind of while we were there, absolutely amazed by all these knives that he had.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of already planning what we were going to be buying from this year, but unfortunately,
right,
he sadly passed away.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he was sadly missed by everyone this year.
You get those ones off him, Slippy?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I actually bought most of my stuff last year from him. I think I bought about 6 or 7 knives from him, but these are the ones I've got to hand. This is a case medium Stockman. This is a 1971 with proper pocket worn, and the snap is still ridiculously good for how old it is. I got a 34 OT USA made, which was it was quite rusty when I got it off him, but I cleaned it up, and the blade's patinaed obviously because I've been using it, but it's in pretty good shape. And the best one I picked up was this ebony Tony Bose sow-belly Stockman.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was incredible.
The wood looks much better in natural light, but it is ebony.
Was that the one I handed to you?
It was, yeah, and then I ran away with it and bought it immediately.
Because I hadn't noticed anything about Tony Bose. I just noticed there was a sow belly and it was Slippy was there. So
but I've not used it. It's literally just been in my sort of box of knives or in my sort of thing. It's never been used by anyone. There's not a scratch on any of the blades. It's immaculate.
The thing that gets me, that haunts my dreams sometimes, is the knives that we find. Because he had like a table full of bargain, like plastic boxes.
Yeah, these were in the bargain. I think I paid $10 each for these.
Yeah, and he had Delrin copperheads and all sorts of stuff, and they were all going for next to nothing. And then we got in behind his table, and the stuff that was coming out was out of this world. It was absolutely unbelievable. But the thing that haunts my dreams is, what didn't we see? What didn't we see? I mean, because there was only so much time to go through it. My God, we tried, but I don't think we got through half of it.
Well, we kept going back for more. It was like, I've just got to look again.
It was ludicrous. It really was.
So Nigel says he doesn't even have a case knife.
That's unacceptable, Nigel.
Unacceptable. Ban him.
No.
You may leave.
You got to encourage them. Don't ban them.
Oh, is that what we do? No. Was it a reinforcement, Thrifty? Is that what?
Yes. This isn't the Patty and Pals show. We We try to take a positive spin to things.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that was another one I picked up. It's just a yellow Delrin trapper. This was from Robert Cutting, and this was in one of those plastic Tupperware type boxes that were on his table. And this was cheap. I can't remember. It was ridiculously cheap. But it was kind of, you just kept looking, and the more you looked, the more you saw. But you still felt like Jud said, "What didn't we see?" I mean, it was vast. His store was vast.
Yeah.
And there were people all over. People were away, so you kind of waiting to get into a gap. And,
people were stealing knives off other people.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Tobias, Sean? Tobias, the Knife Chats?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of times he said that he's one of the most frequent comments that he's gotten over the years is that if you don't have a case trapper, you don't have a knife collection. And I've always made a point not to have one just so I could pretend. But yeah, that's cool. You got like a Delrin one too, so that would be like one of the most standard issue style case trappers you could possibly have.
And to be honest, after I got it, I wasn't sure.
Show that again, Matt. Very nice.
So just making sure I've got a proper knife collection because I've got a 110 and a case trapper. So
110 as well. You got to have one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. When you buy a knife sometimes just because you like the look of it or you want one for your collection.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually, because this wasn't new, it wasn't new in box. It was just loose in a tray. I thought, well, I'm going to start using it, and I carried it and used it, and I actually really like it. It is a good knife. And the thing, I know the spade blade's got mixed opinions, but
let's not get them started, Sean. Don't throw that grenade into the conversation.
No,
the thing for me, well, I actually quite like it as it is, and to have the two blades. If you're going to do anything that you don't want to mess up a good edge for, you can get in with it with this spade blade, and Still prefer the wall.
I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna show 3 quick ones because we're kind of running low on time, and I want to make sure that you guys get to show what you want to see. And I'm sure the other people want to see these. And I've talked about these in the past, but there's the original, the OG, the one that kind of really got me going on. Thinking of knives as something to collect. That mentality set in when I bought that particular knife. This was just the white bone Rough Rider S-Belly. Fantastic snap on it. Probably when I bought this knife, I was like, okay, that's what kind of tension I can expect from a knife. I don't think I'd ever had one with this good of walk and talk on it prior to this. So that really, that was really appealing and made me want to look for more knives that had, that sort of feel to the blades when you open them. Another very special one was one sent from Matt. This was one I'd been looking for a long time, 9 months, I think, at that point. 9 months straight of searching on eBay, never finding it. And he found this over in a online shop in Switzerland and sent that one over. So that was really cool. That one filled a hole in the collection. I think this was like the third to last one that I needed.
Yeah, and the black cherry bone, wasn't it?
Yeah, the black cherry bone as well, but I just didn't pull that one out. But this was about the same time. But okay, you all right over there? This one has the fancy bolsters on it, so that was a really cool one. Another one that was really special was one that Randy pointed out to me. This is a 1971 case, the Tackler, and having a birth year knife. That was really cool. Really love this little worn down, pocket worn wood on it, and the blade's a mess, and I kind of like that it is a mess. It's just one that was well
less
loved.
sort of protective over it, then aren't you? More like to use it when it's like that. Yeah.
don't worry about, messing that one up because there's not much worse I could do with it. One from my father-in-law. He carried this for several years, and he actually bought this in like a 2-pack, and he gave me this one, and then he has the other one. So maybe when he passes away, I'll have the set when he moves on to the next plane. But just a little single-bladed solo 379 pattern, and they don't offer this jig bone anymore in this knife. This was exclusive to Walmart, and I don't think they produce that anymore. So that's kind of cool.
I've only seen the canoe and the 2 Stockmans, isn't it? I think that's the only ones they do the jig bone in now.
I think that's right. Another fantastic knife with the long story. Of course, this one was the Arthur Wright & Son that Matt made up. He got one as well. We both had the sort of burlwood handles on them, and they shrunk and cracked, both of ours. So we think that the knife, the wood didn't get treated properly or something. I don't know, but it shrank. And so we both had our knives rehandled. Now he's got a white smooth bone, and I've got this sort of bluish burl, maple burl, whatever it is.
The first Ashley custom, I think we both had.
Yeah, it sure was. A beautiful spear point blade on that, and
big old fat spear on there, easy open.
Literally my favorite knife that I own. Another one that's really special is this one, as well as the Stag. This one, of course, was kind of inspired by Slippy and I for Rosecraft, and Andy said as much. And he's made a point to let us know that was 100% true. So he kind of made this with us in mind, and so that's just pretty cool.
Yeah, it wasn't because of months and months of bullying. It was definitely because he thought it was a good idea.
No, he surprises with it pretty much. We mentioned a couple of different ideas, and this was one that he liked, and hadn't had the sow belly in mind for a pattern, and thought, yeah, that might be something unique to try. So he did that. So shout out to Andy. That was awesome, and loved the knife. Loved the way it came out. But all right, you guys go now. I wanted to get mine out of the way so that you guys could have the rest of the show to yourselves. Who wants to go next?
Got one.
Have you got something, Judd? Or
yeah, I'll well, seeing as you were talking, you ended on Ashley there, and then Rosecraft. I don't know. I mean, given the circles we're traveling, and I don't suppose any of our collecting journeys would be complete without a discussion of Ashley Harrison customs and the impact they've had on all of our collecting habits. So,
and our pockets.
Matthew, quite right. But it's not. I honest to God, I can honestly say hand on heart, it's never been an expense that I've regretted. I've regretted buying many knives, but never an Ashley Harrison. Never.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I mean, first one, the story behind it is probably as good as any, because it was what I actually remember the time. I was round at Stevens again, and I think we just finished recording one of the early Paddy and Pals, and we were talking about, what we want, or we're looking forward to, and I just basically let out a heartfelt plea. I just want an Ashley. I just want an Ashley Harrison. Any chance you could talk to Ashley about it? And Stephen instantly, because he's like that, he instantly went, "Here, you can have that one off me." And he sold this one to me. Now he didn't give it to me. You don't give Ashleys away for nothing. Yeah. Very rarely anyway. But I bought this off him for a song, and it is still one of my favorites. It is just a classic. I think it's rosewood, spear point, Ashley Harrison with the work back, and it is just an awesome knife. Keeps a mean edge. It's like a flaming fixed blade because the lockup on it is so positive. It is just unbelievable. But it is the most beautiful slim carry. Fits perfectly in your wallet or your pocket. and it is a bear trap.
They all are. All the ones I've had, and I've moved a few on, but all the ones I've had have been literally like a death trap, death grip close on them.
They really are. And I mean, you've got the Britbuster there, and so that was my first one, and it didn't take me long actually, because Stephen's advice to anybody when you're looking for Ashley is just follow him on Instagram, and if you get the chance, keep your eye on it, and if he releases some knives, buy them, just buy them. And Matt was showing us, didn't he release three or four Spey trappers the other day? And they're gone in instants, they're gone in seconds, but that's how you get it on. And this was my first actual purchase, my first in with Ashley, and he was experimenting with abalone, and this was, and I mean, as you all know, the Arthur Wright clip is the hands down the best clip in the world. I will fight anybody to the death about that one. But look at that abalone. That has got that has got to be one of the most beautiful things you could ever see. You know,
I agree with you with the Arthur Wright clip. It is superb.
I carried this knife to my niece's wedding, and it was a pleasure to have in my pocket. It's just a wonderful gentleman's carry. Stephen, of course, had to go one more and got the work back spring on it, the filigreed one, the divine pattern that Michael does, Michael Harrison.
Chased back spring.
Yeah, and it's just, but this is fantastic. But the brilliant thing about this is, and it's a reflection on Ashley's character as much as anything else, is that when I asked to buy this one, he said, absolutely, you can buy it, but just be aware, I'm not overly happy with it because there's a little crack in the abalone. Now, I know this isn't the best camera in the world, but I've never been able to see the crack. And honestly, it doesn't make any difference to the knife itself. Yeah. But the guy has got integrity in terms of the craftsmanship that he's putting out there. And it's just a fantastic knife.
Did he ever provide a name or pattern or anything for the knife? No.
Well, this is just a standard sleeve board clip, I think.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I just thought maybe he had provided his own unique name. No. Okay.
I don't think they even put much stock in names apart from ones like the traditional ones like the Tackler and the Senator. Those are probably the only ones. Any others, Matt, that you know of?
No, just the Barlows, I guess.
No, like he makes it like a spear point Barlow for a custom and things like that. But no, it's basically just variations of classic Arthur Wright patterns.
Yeah,
that's the Spalted Beech, is it, or Spalted Oak? I can't remember which one.
Birch. Spalted birch.
Nice.
This one I was very lucky to get. Elon contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in buying it because I think he was trying to raise some funds for more French knives. And
it's always French knives then.
Yeah. And he also let me have it with one of Randy's slips that he made. I'm just trying to get the light right, see if you can see the graining. He's trying to match it on the covers of the knife.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, but yeah, it's my first Ashley, but it certainly won't be my last.
So, like, just the best way, like Stephen said, you just have to follow him on Instagram. If he's going to put up stuff, he always puts it up on a Friday evening. It's always Friday evening because that's the end of his work week when he's finished tinkering around. That's when I've always managed to pick stuff up. I've got a couple that I just picked up off Instagram that weren't sort of customs. This is just a spear point Barlow we put on there in Koa wood with a worked back spring. And you can see I can't help myself. As soon as I get them, I have to use them. Don't know what it is.
Can we see that back spring again for a minute?
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And
he's been really shaking it up with his back spring patterns, hasn't he?
Yeah, and the liners are coined as well. I don't know if you'll be able to see it with this camera. You can't
that's
see it,
nice.
but they're like little
That's-
little lines all the way down. It's a really nice sort of
Yeah.
touch. There's that one and another one I got as well, which was in the spear point, but this is more just a jack, but it's got the small bolster that has a different type of work back spring. That's a really nice one. I think I'm pretty sure this is snake wood. But yeah, a big fan. I know we're all a massive fan of his work.
The more I see him, the more I want him. I mean, just
he is a perfectionist. I've not had one that's come anywhere near being sort of what I wouldn't expect. I think all the ones I have are dead center, if not very, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The latest one I've got, and I have to say it's probably the most comfortable knife I have ever carried, and it's just a single bladed trapper with a really big, good, generous belly. Look at that handle, and it's in bug oak. I mean, it's just a plain worker. That's what I wanted. And honest to God, it is the most comfortable thing in half. But look at that blade. It's just gorgeous. It really is.
Not that I mind, but this has just become the Arthur Wright and Sons show.
It's just that moment. It has arrived at that moment.
Yeah, it really is.
God.
Wow.
When we start
he just
talking
has
about
incredible work.
Ashley's, you can't sort of stop. They're great.
No,
I just thought we probably ought to be quiet because we're just going to push demand up and make it harder for ourselves to get
No, Ashley Harrison's knives, they're all terrible. They've all
we're
got
not
one
doing ourselves
pull.
any favors, I promise you.
They're only made in pot metal. It doesn't hold an edge more than 3 seconds. Don't bother.
Kathleen really likes the trapper there.
To be honest, I do like that one. The single bladed clip on it. It does look really good.
I like your dog bone back spring, little dog bones.
The dog bone.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's done really well.
Rough.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. It's a superb. I just love the sort of the gents or the gentleman's knife styles, sort of thin spear point that they do. I think it's fantastic.
And the thing is, between just the ones that I'm aware of, between Judd, Patty, Matt, and Mikey,
and Will,
we're keeping Ashley plenty busy.
Oh yeah.
The line is queuing up quicker and quicker.
Yeah. So I'm going. So I don't know if many of you know. I've said it for you people. I'm going to Sheffield next Friday to meet up with Mikey, and we're going to be going to Arthur Wright and Sons' place to sort of meet Ashley and that. And he said to Mikey the other day, it would be quite nice just to meet the person who I take loads of money off.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get your personal kind of experience with Ashley and his dad. His dad going to be there as well?
Yeah, his dad, Michael's going to be there, and Beth will be there as well.
Beth will be there. Okay. We'll say hi to all of them for me. Make sure you greet them from TK.
I'll say the old git says hello.
That American guy that loves your knives.
Yeah. What was that, Sean?
We need pictures. Get some
there'll be
footage.
plenty. There'll be plenty of stuff going on. Kidnap Ashley. Francis just said, if I kidnap him, he won't make me any knives.
You can't kidnap the workshop, can you? That's the thing.
No, you know how much some of those machines weigh? I'm not dragging them back down to South Wales with me.
Tons, literally tons.
It's more likely that the Harrisons will put you and Mikey to work in indentured labor, because they need to get knives out for Christmas, and they don't have enough capacity to do it. So
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I mean, I've started taking apart traditional knives to see if I can rebuild them, so I could use the practice.
Yeah, don't say that to Ashley. They'll have you on the line, banging away.
I'll trade my labor for knives.
That seems like a fair comment.
Every
like
5 knives I make, I would like 1 in return. That seems pretty fair.
No, I think it'd be 10, Matthew, 10.
I'd still take it.
It's just a negotiating position at this stage.
All right. Well, I've got one last one I saved for the end here. Just recently got this from Matt and Mikey, so I want to make sure to give them full credit for. I can't say where he got this. It's kind of tight-lipped, but I just want to say this is a Joseph Rogers in my first. And the finish on this knife on the handle is just
fantastic.
It's insane. It's like the top of a guitar. I mean, it's like furniture. It's just.
You mean you're telling me you opened your Christmas gift before Christmas?
Yeah, this was meant to be an early Christmas gift. And
Thanksgiving present.
I'll throw it under the tree for you, Matt, and I'll wrap it up and open it again. How about that?
Yeah, please.
Beautiful Joseph Rogers. And if you're looking for a brand from England that doesn't have an extreme pull like the Ashleys, in other words, if you're a Wendy, you should be able to manage this pull on this one. Wouldn't you say it's about maybe a 5.5, something?
Yeah,
5.5.
They're not super hard. The newer Wilson Homes are exactly the same. They're about a 6 max.
As good as that clip is, still not quite as good as the Ashley.
I just can't get over how polished the rosewood is.
Yeah, the wood is just insane. I've never seen anything like it.
The camera's not doing it justice. When Mikey sent it to me to send over, I was looking at it in the natural light. It literally color moves in it.
Yeah, the gleam on it is insane.
I actually tempted to put like a really terrible knife in the box and send that instead.
You are a mean and cruel individual, sir.
But it's no surprise to anybody, TK. That's the thing.
It's gone missing. I can't imagine what might have happened to it.
I don't know where it is. It's not being used to eat my breakfast.
The duct tape bandit has struck again. The reason I say that's because every time Matt sends me a package, it's always got duct tape on it. I don't know why he insists on using duct tape.
I wrap it up like a cocaine brick to ensure it always gets there.
Oh no, you're breaking up there a wee bit.
Never heard of packing tape, apparently.
So yeah,
yeah, that's beautiful. And what wood is that? Did you say? Oak.
This is oak.
Beautiful, Roger.
Very nice.
Is that from Mikey too?
It might be.
It might be.
Wouldn't it be weird if we all got Rogers? All got Rogers from Mikey. Wouldn't that be weird? If we all got Rogers from Mikey.
We all got Rogered by Mikey.
Correct. Yeah.
So Zen wants you to take pictures on your tours. Make sure you do that. All right. Take a lot.
Oh yeah, I'll be taking plenty of pictures. I'm gonna try and. I probably won't do like a walking around video sort of thing because I want to sort of enjoy my time there. But I will take pictures. I'll try and do a couple of like short video sorts of things. But I will take as much stuff as possible.
With pictures, you don't have to. You can sit there and just snap away, and you don't have to worry about.
But we might be going to Taylor's Eyewitness as well. But it all depends on sort of time.
Oh, okay.
I'll be worth seeing. TK, can I add one in at the end, just as a
absolutely
as a circular one and a reminder of what we do in terms of these shows. So I'm not sure if everybody will recognize this one, but this is this symbol of one of the biggest gotchas and the most humiliating and yet exhilarating moment of my time on YouTube, where I went off on one of the most amazing rants in the history of Paddy and Pals, only to have Mikey and Stephen pull this out as a gift for me. And Every now and again, I go back and watch that just to embarrass myself. Because the story associated, this is an RC handmade custom bushcrafting knife with the most amazing mirror Scandi grind and AEBL steel, red micarta handles with green liners. It is just the most gorgeous knife. And if anybody wants to go back and have a look for that even just the 5 minutes where I go off on one, it is just hilarious.
The look on your face.
I mean, come on. It was just.
You were literally seconds away from bitching, and then they throw it in front of you.
Seconds away? I was already in full flow, TK.
It was fantastic.
They suckered me in. And you know what the most embarrassing thing about it is? I've always considered myself the brains of that trio, and those two took me for a ride all the way. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a fun moment. I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great knife too. What that custom is, that Scandi grind on that. And the fun you're gonna have, camping with that thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We get to watch some whittling and the chips flying everywhere, and
hopefully I won't cause myself an injury. That's the thing.
The little giggling that went on when you guys were whittling away that one last time. It's like,
I know.
They're just flying off.
I know.
It was great to watch. So anybody go back and watch their last camping video over on Patty's channel. That was a fun one. All right. So you have another, or was that it?
That's me.
Okay.
I think that's all the ones I have out here.
All righty. Sean, you're only the one left?
Trying to find. So this is one. Now, so this is Benchmade.
Ooh.
Okay.
Is it?
It's for the NRA.
Oh, okay.
D2 steel.
Hmm.
And it's a back lock rather. It's got a thumbster, but it's just it's not really a flipper. It's a slow roll. But I bought this knife from the old British Blades knife forum, second hand. It wasn't expensive, but I've used the bloody life out of this, doing all sorts of stuff, and it's just keeps going. And I love the Sodbuster-esque blade shape, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slicey, but still got enough meat to be able to cope with the bit of hard work. And it's the heat treat on this must be so good, because the things I've done with it, and it's just cope with it.
Yeah, the D2.
That's why I love D2.
Yeah.
Because if it's got a even the heat treat's not that great, it's still amazing. But if you get a really good heat treated one, it just goes and goes and goes.
And it's one of those knives that I bought because I thought, that looks all right, I quite like that. But I've used it so much. I'd never sell it. There's no real kind of sentimental attachment as such.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just been such a great tool.
Yeah,
it's
not sentimental, is it? He's a great tool. It's not sentimental. It's just so good for what it is. It's designed to be. You can't part with it. It's too good at being a knife to go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those, and it's quite slim in the hand. It's got quite a thin handle, really, but it just kind of fits nicely.
How old would you say that is, Sean? Because it's interesting, that you're saying this is a Benchmade with D2, and I don't know that they don't use D2 anymore.
It was the early 2000s at some point. So we moved here 2007, and it was probably within a year of moving in, but it wasn't a new knife then, second hand. Right. So early 2000s, I'm guessing.
But I know they were when they 440, and then D2
Yes,
afterwards,
yeah.
and then it went, yeah.
And it's a Steigerwald design, Ken Steigerwald. But yeah, it's a bit messed up, smeared, bit of tape and adhesive and
But
stuff on it. But
it's the showings of a good knife, though.
Yeah, 100%.
It's,
All right,
it's
do you
one
want
of
to
those
give us a quick roll call, Matt? Can you do the roll call for us?
I can try. Okay, let's have a look. Let's go back a little bit. So appreciate everyone that came in today. We've got Rob Tenring, Antsy, Booger McGee, Kathleen, 1 Minute Knife Review, Will Wilson, Griff, Thomas Howard, Dwayne Letterman, Baxters. We have Addicted to Blades 2, MBEDC, some guy called Thrifty. Nigel Loftus is here. Judith, Checkmate King. We also have, of course, we have Randy in here doing his thing. Zen Ali, I've seen him in here. Norwegian Tinkerer. I've also seen Todd over at Pocket EDC. Tony's here too. Blade in Wales. And there's probably so many more I've missed. Leafy Wiggy, Kathleen Smith. This is what's going on? Judge, you muted.
I was hoping he was looking away at the moment there, so I thought I'd have some fun with him.
Davey W. also, Jason Beecher. Any of you that I've missed, I'm very sorry. The chat moves too quick to keep up. But I appreciate you all coming in.
Yes, sir.
A lot of fun, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Very much. Thank you for coming on. Next week is a little bit up in the air because Matt has to work. So unless I can find a fill-in last moment, we may or may not have a show next week.
We'll just bully Degum into being in instead of me.
Okay.
Degum.
Well,
anyone that's not familiar with Degum, so I call Mikey Dr. Eggman because he's bald. So Degum is just an abbreviated version of that. So Mikey.
Yeah.
Are you sure that Mikey's got enough knives to show?
I don't think he has.
I can't keep up with these guys. It's in
I like when he says
X3 every day.
Nobody can keep up with Mikey TK. Nobody can keep up with Mikey.
I didn't have a knife today.
You didn't get a new knife today?
No.
Well, today's Sunday, so that's pretty
There's
rare.
no post.
Yeah,
do you want to see my yesterday's NKD then? Well, before we go.
Well, I showed you mine yesterday's.
So I got this.
Nice,
This is a Rogers Coachman, I think it's called.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, saw that. Nice. That's in good nick as well.
It's in really good shape. I got this from Kongi. Killer deal. I couldn't sort of say no. That one's nice. And I got my first Roberson, which I've been on the hunt for a very long time. I got this one from Kongi as well. Sort of a two-bladed Jack Roberson.
Oh yeah.
You can just
Very
about
nice.
make it out on their Roberson cutlery. But yeah, happy to get those. I've been carrying this one today. I think it's fantastic. That was my yesterday, and along with that, what arrived yesterday was the RAF Zippo that I showed earlier on.
So Mark's reminding us that he has a show later today with both Slippy and Sean. So make sure you're checking that out at 3 o'clock Central. And what time was that?
In about an hour and 45 minutes here, so 9:30.
9:30. Oh, is it at 3:30? Okay, 3:30 Central Time. 9:30 UK time. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming in. And sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I'm just saying, what was that? Judd was waving a knife around.
No, don't worry. We've delayed not long enough, Sean. Don't worry.
Right. Okay. But appreciate everybody coming in today. Again, next week is a little bit up in the air. We'll find out. In plenty of time, we'll let you guys know whether or not there'll be a show. We just have to look for the thumbnail. But aside from that, we'll be back again the following week when Matt is not working. I really enjoyed the topic today. I think a lot of other people did too, guys. You guys had some great stories to share. Some really meaningful knives, I thought, and you didn't have to bullshit anybody.
But how do you know, John?
I just could tell you were very sincere.
Yeah, thank you. Once again, the power has worked.
Yeah, and when we give away our Cody's, which is the Knife of the Years for 24, we might also award a mini Oscar for the best acting performance. If we find out you're lying, you might actually be rewarded for it. But we appreciate you guys coming in. We will catch up with you guys next week. This has been the Slippy and Thrifty Show. For my co-host Slippy, I am Thrifty, and thank you again to Sean and Judd for coming along today. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys again soon. Take care.
Bye, everybody.